Hey, Moneymaker, welcome to Self, God, and Money with Benir PIerre. I am so excited about this conversation. I've been getting inboxes and messages, and you guys have been flooding me with questions about how to improve your relationship with money so that you can improve your business. So I'm so excited about this new show that we've released and all of the content that we are creating for you. If you are new to the channel, then I am Benir PIerre, your alignment, integration, and monetization specialist, and I am here to help purpose driven leaders heal your relationship with self, God, and money so that you can create the massive world impact, total freedom, and multi generational wealth you were born for. Today, we are discussing 5 money triggers that are stopping you from hitting your 6 figure goal. Before we jump in, if you're watching, make sure that you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, tell a friend who you know needs this, call your biz bestie, your mentor, and mentees, and let them know that we are live. And if you're watching us live, go ahead and drop a note. Let us know where you're from, where you tuning in from. And if you're catching the replay, let us know that as well. And the question that I have for you before we get started is, what are your money triggers? What are those things that stop you right on the brink of a breakthrough, stop you from going to that next level? Let us know in the comments and we'll be sure to address those a little bit later. This conversation really was birthed from the breakthrough calls I've been having recently with clients. And I've been finding that there are so many high achieving leaders who are right on the verge of something major. And for one reason or another, there's something about their money story that is stopping them from taking that leap. And I've been coaching now for about 9 years. And I started thinking and realized that whether your goal is 10K a month or your goal is 100K a month, the triggers that show up are the same. So today we're talking about exactly what are those triggers, how do they show up in your life, and more importantly, how do they show up in your business, how are they affecting your money, and what are some things you can start to do to overcome them. The ACE study, or Adverse Childhood Experiences study, is a study that examines how childhood trauma or adverse effects from childhood affect your adult health, adult relationships, and how you show up in adulthood. So, of course, this study was specifically looking at your health and things like obesity and certain diseases that we have considered to be genetic, but essentially the study was looking at how that ties into those adverse childhood experiences. But there's also a thing called financial PTSD. And so when you combine all of this and look at how people are then affected in their money story as adults, it's not surprising to think that there would be some money trauma and some things that would be triggers as you jump into business. You know, the truth is that trauma doesn't just go away. And even after you heal, we all know that healing is a journey. So even after you heal and you go to the best counselor, sometimes you still have triggers that you manage. And one of the long-term effects of childhood trauma is financial instability. So it's not, again, uncommon, especially when we're talking about women in business, it's not uncommon that that trickles over into your money. Your relationship with money is a reflection of your relationship with self. I mean, the truth is, your relationship with anything is a reflection of your relationship with self. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about how some of those triggers show up and, again, what you can do to overcome that. So the first one is financial uncertainty. Of course, this seems like it would be a trigger. I'm sure that you have checked that bank account and it was a little lower than you wanted, and it caused you to go into complete freak out mode. Now, for different people, that number is different. So for some people, when they check their account and they have under $10,000, they start to panic. For some people, it's when they have under $10 that they start to panic. But whatever that number is for you, it shows up the same way. And it's not always about how it shows up in your personal finances. This can also be triggered by things like the stock market, by things like your country going into a recession, and the uncertainty that then is built around what could happen. And, I'm a firm believer that a thing isn't just the thing, it attaches to the root of that thing. And so sometimes this might be a result of having gone through divorce, or, your parents having gone through divorce when you were younger. And so situations come up and it makes you think of all of the what ifs and all of the security being snatched from under you. And security, as we've talked about in other videos, it is all about your root chakra, but that shows up in other areas of our life. So first trigger is absolutely any type of financial uncertainty, not being able to really predict. So when you're in business, goodness, in the beginning, until you really learn how to manage your profit, until you learn how to plan for profit, it's a whole lot of financial uncertainty. Sometimes you don't know what you are going to bring in from one month to the next. And so how does that show up for you in business? Let me know in the comments. When you have a month where maybe you're not able to see it on paper, where, maybe some retainer clients have fallen off, or you're not getting the responses to your content that you're used to getting. How do you handle that uncertainty? What does that cause you to do? For some people, it causes them to shrink. It causes, their confidence gets low, and it causes them to hide because thoughts like, well, I knew I couldn't do it anyway, or whatever other stories we repeat in our head, those start to creep up. On the other side of that, there are people who go into overworking, and we've had so many conversations about overworking as a trauma response. And so there are a lot of people who go into grind mode and desperation. I'm sure that you've seen these people all through your social media who, towards the end of the month, all of a sudden they are desperate for clients and they are doing things like crazy sales. I talked to a client who has a $3,000 course that's worth every bit of that $3,000, if not more. And because of some of these triggers, she was offering it for $500, plus you could bring in someone for free. And of course, I gave her a major side eye because we don't do that over here. We stand in our worth. And even though no one could ever pay what you are worth, they absolutely can pay for the value of your experience and your education and your expertise. And so that's one way that it shows up, is you start to shrink and you start to forget who you are. The second money trigger that shows up is creating a six-figure ceiling. Now, this one is one that I know a lot of you can relate to. I've had so many conversations, and one of the questions I ask in my questionnaire is, what is your income goal monthly? And I get a range of 10K a month to 100K a month. But for whatever reason, this whole 6 figures, and then of course now 7 figures, has become this elusive thing. And people make it mean so much. And so they attach so much to this 6 figures. And some of that attachment also has to do with them attaching their worth to 6 figures. Like somehow they are worthless or they are unworthy when they are at $99,999. But right at that 100,000, all of a sudden they become worthy. And that is a major trigger because, again, for a lot of people, what that can show up as is, first off, whenever you create a ceiling, you limit abundance. Abundance flows to you freely. And so when you are so focused on the number, And this isn't to say that you shouldn't have financial goals. This isn't to say that you shouldn't have budgets. The truth is that business is about profit and loss. So we definitely need to know our numbers, which is what I talked about in last week's episode. If you haven't watched it, be sure to check it out, and we'll make sure to leave a link to it somewhere up here so you can do so. But make sure that you know your numbers. So, of course, it's important for you to have certain revenue goals. But when that revenue goal is this arbitrary number, which for a lot of people it is, they have created this 10K number, but they don't even have a 10K budget. They've created this 6-figure goal and they have no clue how they would utilize that 6 figures. The truth is that money is energy, and energy needs movement. And so if you are finding yourself stagnant and hovering right under that 6 figures, the first thing I would tell you to do is get clear on exactly how you want to utilize it. But when we talk about manifestation and money mindset, it's really important not to get so caught up on the number and really be clear on the access that you're asking for. Money is just energy. Money is just access. So you could have 6 figures sitting on your desk right now, and it does nothing if you don't give it a job. So be really clear about the job that you want money to do for you, and you'll find that hitting that arbitrary number that you created might be just a little bit easier. But get rid of the ceiling. Understand that abundance is limitless and it flows to you through grace and perfect ways. Be clear on that. Be clear that there is no ceiling, and you will quickly find that your ceiling now becomes your floor. The third trigger is sales rejection and abandonment. And this is a huge one. This is so big, and I hear so many clients struggling with this because there is this ownership that happens in business where somehow we think just because someone asks about our services that we own them, that now they are our client. And so if we have people asking, but they don't actually sign up with us, again, we have this tendency to make that mean something, and it means something about us. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. Maybe my prices are too high. Maybe my prices are too low. Maybe I don't know really what I think I know. Maybe I'm just an imposter. And we create all of these stories in our head when the truth is, how many times have you walked into a store and not purchased something? Or you have been watching a certain item. Everyone's been home during quarantine. I know that you have worn Amazon's website out. How many times have you been watching an item, either waiting for the price to drop or simply comparing until you are ready to purchase? So it's really important to understand that just because someone doesn't buy something, it has nothing to do with you. It's all about where they are. So one thing that can help with that is understanding the buyer cycle and being really clear about where the buyer is in their cycle. Another thing, really only connecting with your soulmate clients. And you're going to hear me say that so many times because personally, I'm only available to work with soulmate clients. If you do not set my soul on fire and make me so excited to come to work, I have no desire. And often when we get into this space of scarcity and desperation and we just want to bring in the next client, it gets so easy to just take anyone who wants to work with you. So be really clear on who is your soulmate client. Who is that client for whom you can help create the most transformational experience? That is who will see the value in what you're doing. Be really, really clear on your worth. You are not your business. You are not, heck, you're not even your brand. Be clear on who you are as an individual and know that this 6-figure number or a client not choosing to work with you, and sometimes even worse, working with your clients instead, that's a major one. Ego gets all in the way, but it means nothing about you. So understand that just because they didn't buy, maybe it just wasn't where they were in the buyer cycle. Just because they went with someone else, maybe there was a different need. The truth is, I would rather have clients not work with me than to work with me and me want to give them a refund the whole time. Refunds, I believe, are a true anointing, because when you're working with clients who do not set your soul on fire, that work is difficult. And I've worked for companies in the past where I didn't enjoy it. I did not quit corporate and go full time as an entrepreneur to hate my job. So make sure that you are creating amazing content for clients who truly value what you have to offer. The fourth trigger is investments in self. And it would seem like this wouldn't be a trigger. I mean, of course, I want to invest in myself, right? But the reason that it's a trigger is, for a lot of people, you've been told that investing in yourself is selfish. You've been told that you have to take care of everybody else. You got to take care of the kids. You got to take care of your spouse. You got to take care of work. You got to take care of your parents. You have to take care of everyone else. And that somehow, if you do what you need to do for yourself, you're selfish. The other part of that is sometimes investments in personal development can be a little pricier than that morning latte that everyone always, tries to promote. So it might be a little more expensive than a latte a day. And for some people, seeing the price ticket, they can justify it if it's something that their kids need. They can justify it if it's something that their spouse needs. Heck, they can justify it if it's something that a random person on the street needs, but somehow if it's what they need, they talk themselves out of really getting the support and the help because it's selfish. And a lot of that stems from feelings of unworthiness. A lot of that stems from feelings of rejection. A lot of that stems from martyrdom and feeling like, you were always the one that people depended on. And so that's just how it has to be. But the truth is that your investment in self is an investment in your family. Your investment in helping you achieve your next level impact and walk in the calling that you were born for. If you are not walking in your calling, everyone around you suffers. I saw something on Facebook recently and it said, I wish you would just do what you were called to do so you can stop walking around with an attitude. And that is so true. How many of you go to a job that you hate, or you are working in a business that technically you loved it when you started it, but now you're burnt out, you're overwhelmed, it's too much, this is not what I signed up for, and everyone around you has to pay because you are not investing in yourself. You're not investing in your growth. You're not keeping your cup full. So it's really important that you keep your cup full and invest in your personal development, invest in your business development. It's not selfish, it's self-preservation, but hey, even if it is selfish, so what? Trigger number 5. This one is actually a little surprising because a lot of people would not guess this, but achieving wealth is a major trigger. So many of my clients finally hit that 6-figure goal that they have put out in front of them, and they hit the goal and all of a sudden they don't know what to do. They're in a new social circle and they're not quite feeling like they fit in this new space, but they're not fitting in the old space. There's some loneliness, there's some guilt. And especially my clients who didn't grow up with a silver spoon, they worked hard their whole life. I know many of you can relate to this. So if this is your story, if I've said something that you can relate to, let us know in the comments. They worked their whole life. Every single thing that they have earned, they worked hard for. And so now that they've hit this goal that for so long was a carrot in front of them, motivating them to work hard, they have no clue what to do with themselves. And so that can trigger feelings of guilt. Why is this coming so easily to me? I must be doing something wrong. I'm an imposter. I'm not used to these circles. Maybe people will realize that I'm an imposter. It might show up like, I feel bad that I have the money and other people don't have the money, so I'm just going to give everything away. And there's this poverty consciousness that somehow says you can't both be abundant and impactful. And I'm here to tell you that is absolutely a lie. Another way that this shows up, we talked about overwork as a trauma response. And so for many of you, this shows up as the busyness of business. And so you spend so much time focusing on being busy because, again, you feel like you have to work hard. You feel like you have to do something. It can't flow to you easily. Passive income, there's no way that I can just receive that. So you get into this busyness, and the thing is, it takes you out of flow. And so one major manifestation of this is wild fluctuations in your revenue from month to month. Some of my top earners have fluctuations of over $50,000 a month. Like that's insane. Money being left on the table simply because you're triggered. So if you have seen yourself in anything that I have said, and you're like, Coach B, you're reading my mail. So many of you all week have been like, Coach B, stop it. You're talking to me. If you know that I'm talking to you and you know that you are on the brink of a breakthrough and you are on the verge of your next level impact and income, but you are in your own way, I would love to talk to you. I would love to work through this. It doesn't have to take another 6 years for you to stay in this. Think of the number of people who are not being served, who need you, because you're triggered. So if you are triggered by what I've shared today, I encourage you to book a call with me. It's benirpierre.com/booking. If you were blessed by this broadcast, please tell a friend. I'm trying to get my numbers up on YouTube. So if you're not over there, run over there, subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell. And we will see you back here every Wednesday at 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. Be blessed.